It's Hannah.
And Trevor.
And it's Disney Pinsomniac.
And today we are back with a kind of different video. We're going to be talking about our experience at the Times Square Disney store.
Now, this is one of the last few remaining Disney stores in the whole world, or at the very least in the United States. And it is a very iconic one because it is in Times Square. We actually went to a Disney outlet about a year ago, and this was a really different experience than that. So we wanted to talk about what it was like and the good and the bad. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start with the big elephant in the room. Times Square kind of sucks.
It's really busy.
It's really busy, and it's always really busy. And we're not here. We haven't been here long enough to be like, oh, we're so over all the tourists. Like, no, it's not that. It's that like you can't move without hitting someone or getting in way too close proximity to another human being. So from where we live, it is about 40 minutes, including walking time, on the subway. We do not have a car. We sold our car when we moved here. So 40 minutes isn't really bad, all things considered, because it's about 10 minutes to walk to the station, and then a few minutes to walk from the station to the store. Now, when we got there the first time, Trevor, what happened? Do you remember?
Yeah, so we were there on, I don't know if it was a weekend.
Nope, it was just a random day.
Just a weekday, and we kind of planned on going to Times Square. It was the first time we had been together. And we showed up to the Disney store, knowing it was there, planning on going, and it was closed, which was really confusing. And it was confusing a lot of other people around us. There was a lot of people that would show up and looking through the window and see everything in there, and there was no one in there, and it was closed. The doors were locked. It was like, what was it, 4 p.m. or something? 3 p.m.?
Okay, now to make this a little bit more clear, I checked the website, I checked Google Maps. Everything said that there were no events at the current time, that it would be open. They had the times listed. The phone, no one picked up the phone. We thought maybe they were on like break or something, so we like left and then came back. No, it was closed. And I will say that was like a really frustrating thing to have happen, especially because there wasn't even like, gosh, my standards are low, but I'm like, put a sign up in the door that says like, so sorry, like we had to close for like an unexpected reason, like we're so sorry. No, and we gave it like a couple hours for them to reopen to see if they were gonna be like, again, like if something happened and they needed to close down, but nope, nothing. They just closed it. And you know what, it's fine, sometimes things happen. I just kind of wish that they had maybe like said something about it, or even again put up a note about how the store needed to close unexpectedly, which was kind of frustrating. And honestly, as frustrating as it was for us for it to be closed, I felt really more like sad for the people who were there, who were visiting, who didn't get to experience the store. Because I know that especially for a lot of people who come to New York City, they have one day to do everything, right? It's so busy in New York and there's so much to see. So you have one day for the Statue of Liberty, you have one day for a Broadway show in Times Square, you have one day to do a food tour or whatever you're doing, one day to do the Brooklyn, you're doing things all the time. And if that was your time to do this and it's closed and there's no explanation and you planned on being able to do it, that would kind of suck. Luckily we live nearby, so we could come back another time, and I called just like I did before. No one picked up. I looked online. Again, everything looked fine. But this time, it was open. So, we just had to pick a second day and come back, even though, like, literally everything looked the exact same from the day it wasn't open and the day it was open. Now that we've addressed, like, the big beef we had with the store, after we actually got into the store and got to see it, honestly, it was really cool. We're gonna be putting in some footage here from our phones that we filmed. Just the store was really, really cool. A lot of really awesome merch. It was great listening to the music. There was someone who came on and was like mic'd up and was like, we got this over here, and like, welcome, and look at this, blah blah blah, and was like very interactive with people, which was fun. I was really, really impressed with how much brand new merch they had in the store.
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
really cool. There was stuff that hadn't been released on Shop Disney yet, and to me that's like a good thing. Like, I want to be able to get stuff earlier if I can in, say, like a flag, like I'd like to be able to get stuff earlier by going into a physical store. Like, that's worth it for me. And so that like gains some points for me. Like, oh, it's worth it to come if you can maybe get some things before they're like released online. So that was pretty cool.
The Marvel and Spider-Man areas of the store were pretty light, I would say. There wasn't a whole lot going on there, especially the Marvel section was like a very tiny corner of the store that really didn't have that much, and I thought that was kind of a miss given how much merch there is for Marvel and Marvel characters.
And we literally came when like Guardians of the Galaxy had just come out, and Into the Spider-Verse, the sequel, came out, and we were especially surprised knowing how, oh my gosh, Into the Spider-Verse is a huge fan favorite. People love that movie. And there was zero Miles merch. There was zero like Spider-Man merch.
There was like maybe
really.
a couple plushies, maybe.
Yeah, and they weren't like, they were literally like the kind you could find at Target. Like, they weren't anything special. They weren't like specific to like the news stories or characters, which was kind of a miss. The Star Wars section had like a few cool collectibles, but honestly, like, I've been to like mall nerd stores that had better merch than that. We were impressed to see that they had some like Dooney and Burke stuff, some like really nice designer things. Like, they had a Coach duffel from the Coach in Walt Disney World 50th anniversary that was really nice. And they had a really awesome section for the Tommy Hilfiger collab with Disney that we both kind of salivated just a little bit over. There's some really cute stuff in that collab that we will not be able to afford, as I'm sure many of the people that come to the store cannot afford, because man, what was that jacket like?
$500, $600.
It was a really cool jacket though.
Yeah.
So
the theming of the store was really cool.
Yes.
I don't think I really have been to a Disney store that was quite like that. I think I remember growing up going to Disney stores.
Me too.
And really enjoying that, and then also going to some when I was a little bit older, and they've always like had a really cool kind of aesthetic and are like, you know, visually pleasing, so to speak, but never have I seen one that's like so well themed and kind of like reminiscent of like the parks in a sense, I would say.
The escalators are by far the coolest part.
Oh, for sure.
They are like Tangled themed. They have floating lanterns, and my favorite part of the floating lanterns is that on the side there's like a cityscape. It looks like the New York skyline, and then the lanterns are floating, which I just think is really cool and like a unique touch, because it's not just a Disney store, right? It's the New York Times Square Disney store, right? So I loved having like this Disney element with just a little bit of the cityscape in the background. I thought that was really cool. So one thing that was cool is there was a lot of Mulan merch because it was the 25th anniversary of the movie. There was a really cool like doll. I wish I could have seen it better. It was behind the register. It was like an anniversary doll. Super cool. And then there were some pins and stuff for the 25th. Speaking of pins, there were not a ton of pins, but I was grateful to see the pins that were there, because there's something about seeing the pins that are limited edition and seeing a whole stack of them that makes you go, oh, maybe they're not as limited as it seems, because you're seeing a whole stack of them. Now, that might sound silly, but...
Well, and to be fair, a lot of the limited editions were like really high numbers.
That is true. Like 2,500, you know.
More than that even, I think. Some of them were like 5,000.
Which at that point, it's like...
it feels like it's hardly limited edition, really.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them were really cool. The ones they had there, they had some cool pins, but it wasn't like mind blowing. Nothing like the parks. Oh my gosh, nothing even close to that. Nothing close to that.
Nothing beats the parks though for pins.
No way.
I will say they had a ton of really awesome ears, a lot of ears I had not seen before, or new ears, or even just ones that you can't typically find unless you're in the parks. Shop Disney is getting a little bit better at that, but there were still some I hadn't seen yet on the app. Though I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I'm like religiously checking the app. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Now, I did come in with a goal and a dream to find this Loungefly that I had seen in Princess Serena's video where she talks about the Disney store in Times Square. It is a New York City bag and it says New York on it, and it's Mickey and Minnie and they're shopping and super cool. And I saw that she got it and I was like, I want to see that bag. I want to look at it and I might want to buy it. Well, that bag was nowhere to be found, and I was pretty bummed out because we were only there like a week or two after she was there, and it was like not in the store. Yeah. I did not ask someone because I figured that if it was not on display in any of the sections, and we checked very thoroughly, we were there for a long time, that they weren't gonna just like have it in the back and not put it out. Yeah. Maybe that was foolish, but
no, probably right.
It is what it is. Now, that being said, it has now been, since then, released on Shop Disney. Oh, so yeah. I was kind of bummed out, like, seeing it on Shop Disney, because I was like, oh, like, they didn't have it at the Disney store in New York, but, like, they have it now, I can buy it online. Boo. Yeah. But honestly, they did have an amazing Cinderella lenticular Loungefly where it transforms. It's super cool.
That was really cool
and some other really great Loungeflies.
That does make me feel like maybe it would have been cool to see more like New York Times Square exclusive items. I think there were a few, but not very many. And that might be like a newer choice. Maybe in the past they've had more of those and have kind of moved away from that, knowing the newer direction Disney's going with a lot of their merchandise choices, you know. Maybe that's something that they've moved away from. I didn't see very much of that, though.
Most of the New York merch was plushes and mugs.
Yeah, there were some, plushes and mugs.
Maybe an ornament. Yeah. I can't remember, but nothing really stood out to us. It didn't. No. A lot of it didn't feel, besides the mugs, like it was geared towards like adults. That might sound silly. They do have a promotional deal where if you spend a certain amount of money, then you can get this Minnie as the Statue of Liberty plush for cheaper.
Came to mind, yeah.
But frankly, like it wasn't cheap enough that I was gonna buy it as an add-on. It was still like $30 or something like that, and I was like, that's not like that big of a discount. I'm probably wrong about the price, but it didn't feel worth it. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that we did see there, and I am like kind of was super excited about, were the Munchlings. Now, those are something I've seen so many people open on YouTube, on TikTok, and I want to know if you guys would be interested in seeing us open any of those plushes. Now, we have not opened them because we are a pin channel. However, you may know that we like mystery boxes, and those are mystery boxes. And so if any of you would like to see an opening of that, we twist our arm, we'll probably do it. I was really excited to see them because you can't get them at a lot of places. I haven't been able to find them like at any of the Targets that we've been at. Yeah. And you usually have to ship them or buy them on Shop Disney, and your girl does not want to pay for shipping. So overall, the Disney store was really cool. It definitely made us feel like a little bit of nostalgia. Just like Trevor said, I also have memories of being in the Disney store. Not the Times Square one, but just like being at Disney stores in the mall. Mm-hmm. I have a very vivid memory of like my parents and I haggling or negotiating, as one does as a child with their parent, for a Marie plushie. And I don't have it anymore, obviously, but I do think I will never forget that. So it was definitely fun to get to have that nostalgia.
Yeah.
There were lots of princess dresses and lots of things that would be really fun if you were a kid. I would be terrified of going there if I had a child because my bank account would be screaming at me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. The bottom floor felt a lot like there was a lot of stuff for adults, I will say, because there was like the Pride section. It was more apparel. They had like the
Tommy Hilfiger.
the Tommy Hilfiger collection and the Disney 100 merch. That's like collectibles, right?
Yeah.
Upstairs they had like some cool like pajama sets that I hadn't seen before. Still some more adult stuff, but they also had like a lot of more toys, and they had like the princess dresses and the castle and everything that like is just a magnet to get kids in there to fall in love with some polyester like glitterified dress and then beg their parents to buy it, like,
For sure.
and it works, right?
Yeah.
It works. There was, I will say, one cool section right off the elevator was a merch spot for The Little Mermaid that has just kind of come out. Man, we've been like bam, 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 bam with all the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
We had Guardians of the Galaxy come out. We had Into the Spider-Verse. We had The Little Mermaid, and we had Elemental. Now,
Yeah.
like, 2 of those are Marvel, and then like one is Pixar, and one is like
Oh, but Spider-Verse was in Disney.
oh yeah. Maybe that explains why they didn't have any
That's
merch.
why they don't have any merch. Yeah,
Wow.
I've never thought about that.
Honestly, if we were to give any feedback to the Disney store, because I know they watch our videos and I know they're thinking, how can we
course, yeah.
improve? It would be put a freaking note on the door if it's gonna be closed. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That was really disappointing. And then our other thing we would probably say is more pins. Always more pins.
Yeah, definitely. More pins would be nice. I wouldn't mind seeing some more exclusive items, but
Yeah, that would be really cool.
you know, I feel like the fact that they don't really do Disney stores at all anymore, I feel lucky to have like any exclusive items, you know,
For
or
sure.
just like, you know, the store still existing, let alone any exclusive
Yeah.
items, right?
Definitely. I really think like they could make a killing if they had some more exclusive only there items that weren't also on Shop Disney.
Yeah.
That being said, I think like they know their market and they're not gonna like, if they can make money from it in one place, they're gonna make money from it everywhere that
Yeah,
they can.
totally. I get that too.
It was really cool to see. So much better than the outlet experience.
Yeah, way better than the outlet for sure.
I know that might sound silly, but like, coming from the outlet experience where we were so excited to go to the outlet and then it was like, meh, it was fine. And then going to like this last store and we're like, oh, it's the last Disney store. Like, is it going to be worth it? And then it was like, oh, this is so cool. And you do feel a little bit like a kid, especially going up that escalator. I felt like a kid a little bit as I'm like looking around and like, you know, not that many things as an adult make you look up in wonder. And it did, so that was a really fun moment. Let us know, do you want to see a Munchling video? Is that something you've even heard of? Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know, leave your comment below. Also, have you been to the Disney store in New York? If so, what were your thoughts? Do you agree with us?
Yeah.
Did you also get shut out for no freaking reason? I'm not bitter.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Hit that thumbs up.
Subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.